The Busy Author Mom's Blueprint. We want to stress less and flow more. A bit of advice today, a bit of homework and practical tips that you can stress less and flow more. So this is my strategy. So if you can see, it has sort of that author mentality of the types of steps. So the first step is to brainstorm. So we're going to define current responsibilities for ourselves. The second step is to outline, and this is going to help you become more effective in your day-to-day. The third step is to draft. We're going to live in your schedule, find out what works and what doesn't. And step 4 is the revision step. So we're going to refine your life so that you can live in flow with yourself, your books, and your family. I used to end every single day without accomplishing everything I needed to do at work. And then I wouldn't be present with my family because I was focused on how I failed at work. And I tended to get depressed on the regular, doom scrolling TikTok, because I was just so frustrated by not getting everything done that I thought I could. So this is where author moms can tend to get stuck. So what it looks like and what I'm going to help you do today is to be in control. So author moms in control, they have realistic expectations and control over her schedule. You can have a predictable publishing plan and be fully present for family on your terms. So we want to be this author mom in control of her time. So how do we do that? I just wanted to say settle in too. Stick around if you're a mom who's currently publishing and trying to integrate family into your creative passions. You want to work smarter, not harder, and create a schedule that feels in flow. You also want to feel like you can do it all without sacrificing family time, your publishing career, or yourself. I know we tend to put ourselves behind everything, but we don't want to do that anymore. And also, if you're interested in knowing how I can help you improve your life and your publishing systems, and welcome you into my community of other like-minded author moms. So where I was before growing up, and you're probably the same, I was creative and a daydreamer, but I was encouraged to get a real job. So after college, I worked full-time in a laboratory, and this is sort of where my love of systems thrived, which you'll sort of see as I go through. So when Twitter first came around, I learned that many authors were publishing and they also had a full-time job. So my passion for writing sort of started up again, and I wrote my first book in 2009. I say book, it was a very short story, not anything like a novel. And it was terrible, like all first books are, but NaNoWriMo definitely helped me, and that's sort of where I jumped into the community of writers. So over the years, I honed my craft and I worked in the mornings and the evenings on my books. So in 2012, I got a 3-book deal with the digital first imprint of Harlequin UK, which is now part of HarperCollins, and 3 contracts after that. So I have over 10 years of publishing industry experience. I have been self-publishing since 2021. So I have a little bit of a dual perspective on that. So what happened after? After getting pregnant, my world changed, as it tends to do. I was super careful because I had a miscarriage several years earlier, which still was, weighing heavily on my mind. And I still tried to do it all, but I burned out a lot. I was doing too much, constantly injuring myself, my wrists, and always felt behind or rushed in my work. So I continued to think that as a mother and creative, I could do it all without changing or letting go of anything. And I was half wrong. So part 2, over the years, I went to therapy to understand myself better and my tendencies, and even worked with an executive function coach. I was diagnosed with ADD at 37 years old. And I've learned to work with my brain instead of against it, which is sort of why all of these systems came into place. So I developed these systems for myself so I could streamline all of my passions. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I could breathe, which is very important. So where I am now, I have a dedicated writing and publishing time each weekday that is sacred to me. I can turn on mom mode at the end of each workday because I do work full time as a project manager. And I can be present with my family every evening without feeling behind. And that's what led to a lot of my frustrations. So recently, I started working one-to-one with author moms on how to improve their systems, their life system, publishing systems, work systems. But I realized that I wanted to reach a larger community of author moms because everyone that I have spoken with is just looking for the space. We can't really find the space out there. And you have mom groups and then you have author groups, but there's really not a lot of mom author groups. And we are a unique bunch that, are can use support as much as possible. So as a primary caregiver, I am no longer stressed when there's a sick day or sudden snow day because I've planned out my schedule to be flexible. Now we're going to dive deeper into how I've done this for myself today. So step 1 is the brainstorming step. So here's our action for this step. We need to define your responsibilities. So you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you are. Like with a book, I need you to brainstorm with me. Instead of a fictional story, we're going to write our story. So we're going to write down all of the things that you do currently in all areas of your life. And if you need a little jump start, you can start with simple buckets like everything you do as a mother for your family, everything you do as an author for publishing, and everything you do for yourself. And I will be making sure that you keep things for yourself in your life because, like I said, we do not need to put everything first before ourselves. Do you ever go on an airplane where they say, put the oxygen mask on yourself if that happens to happen before you do it for anyone else? So you need to take care of you. So tools for step 1. So put these lists in a place where you will remember to access them. So you don't want to just make a list and then forget where you put it. So if you are a digital person, you can do Microsoft Word or Google Docs. Some people use Notion or Evernote. And then if you prefer physical items, you can do a planner or a checklist, to-do list, put it in your bullet journal, just in a place that you will know to access it when we do our other steps. All right, so let's break it down here. So what are your responsibilities as a mother? Are you the primary caregiver? What sort of tasks does this entail? So what are your responsibilities at home? Are you in charge of cooking? Are you in charge of cleaning? Are you in charge of taking the kids to their events, doctor's appointments, stuff like that? What are your current responsibilities in the home? And so the next one is for your author career. So what are your responsibilities as an author? Are you traditional, self-published, or hybrid? All of those different buckets entail different activities. Obviously, we all write, but are you putting your books up on vendors? Are you having your traditional publisher handle that stuff? What are your responsibilities? And what parts of the publishing process are you in charge of? Because this can look very different depending on where you are. So do you have a job outside of being an author and a mother? So what are all of your responsibilities at your job? Do you have a hobby? Again, this is the you part. How often do you devote to that? Do you take part in community activities like volunteering or church? List all of your responsibilities in that regard as well. So now that you have a list, and I bet it's long, write down what days of the week you do those tasks and how long each of them take approximately. You don't need to have an exact here, just an idea of how long each of them take. So some might be easy to define, like your work hours, while some you might need to think about. If you have a hobby of crocheting and you don't, really know how often you do that or how long it takes, think about that a little more and just do the best you can. Now, when it comes to your authoring tasks, when are you most creative? I'm most creative in the morning, so I make sure to keep my time for doing author stuff in the morning because I want to have the most energy possible. If you like to do it at night, you have most energy there, put nighttime. And for hobbies, when are you wanting to wind down and take time for yourself? So you can fluctuate this based on the day and your current schedule, but make note of these times for the next step. Is everyone still with me? Let me know in the chat if you have a nice long list going. All right, so now that we have our brainstorming, you want to start outlining. So with outlining, you have another action. So we want to set time boundaries. So boundaries are super important. If you're working from home, where this is something I had to learn after 2020, boundaries are especially important because it's often easy to forget that they are there. Now we're going to create some time boundaries based on your current responsibilities. Now remember, we want to stay current with what you're doing now, not some ideal thing that you want to be doing. We have to be really realistic with our time currently, and this is where we'll find areas for improvement. So again, tools, you can use a digital or physical calendar to sort of visualize this for yourself. Google Outlook, you can use a physical planner, a monthly daily calendar, you can use a whiteboard or just a plain piece of paper for you to draft this out. All right, so this is just a very simple schedule, and these are those buckets. This is an example of a one-on-one client that I worked with in her schedule. So she devoted Monday through Friday to writing and work and stuff like that, and the weekends were her sacred time for herself and for her family. So these were her buckets of time, her boundaries. So each colored box is a boundary for her, and they have a distinct start and end time. So you can break it down further, and you can get even more realistic view of your time. So this is something that we worked on together. This view gives a more realistic look of what you can do in a week. For some, this visual may spark joy. For some, it might make you anxious. It's okay. But you need to understand where you are before you can fix or improve. So take your list from step 1 and map what your week looks like currently. And be honest with everything that you do. Also, this isn't time for adding things you want to do. As I said, we need to audit your current schedule before you can think about accumulating even more. And I'm going to help you find little buckets of time that you can add those things for yourself or future projects. So step 3 is draft. The next action is to create focused environments. You will be way more effective when you complete like tasks at the same time. Batching tasks together will increase your efficiency instead of task switching. So for myself, and it's something that I discovered more recently in getting my diagnosis for ADD, is that I would jump at every little thing that needed to get done that jumped in my mind. So it's like, I have to do this, I have to do this right now. And task switching in itself is so unproductive to your time. And most of the time, you don't even need to be task switching. Creating a focused environment will keep you, from opening a whole bunch of different tabs. I feel like I'm opening so many tabs in my head. I don't need it in front of me too. So these are definitely something that you should try to incorporate into your schedule. So tools for step 3, this can be as simple as a calendar or a planner setup, but if you like to manage your tasks a little more, you can look into project management software like Asana, Trello, Monday.com, and there's so many out there. Okay, so in terms of creating these focused environments, so when you're looking at your schedule, after you've broken everything down, you want to identify the location for each block of time. So I'm going to say for writing, it's probably your desk. So I'm going to use that example as we sort of go through these steps. So you want to set up, you have your location, you want to set up your environment for minimal distractions. If you are someone who can't stand clutter, clean off your desk. If you have a door, I don't have a door in my office. It's on a loft part of my home. So if you have a door, shut the door. Put a sign up if you want to, have other people not come in, if you can manage that. Turn off notifications if you can. I know I always have my phone near me in case there's an emergency or something with, the kiddo. But if you can turn them off for your phone and your computer, do it. I like to set timers for groups of tasks. You can do Pomodoro sprints. If you haven't heard of those, they're basically like 25-minute blocks of time that you dedicate to a certain task or task block, and then you take a break for 5 minutes. One thing I like to do is listen to curated playlists. I will change music based on what I'm doing, and preferably with headphones, so you can even further immerse yourself into what you're doing. And one thing that I learned throughout the years that is so helpful is if you don't have a timer specifically, set a reminder on your schedule for you to switch your activities. So I enjoy this because it gives me a minute to sort of reconcile what I've done and feel accomplished, while also taking me out and then bringing me back to what I need to be doing next. So you can get away from the desk for a few minutes, rehydrate or stretch before the next block. That's always helpful. Back to this calendar. Looking at it, if it doesn't make you too anxious, do you see any opportunities for creating more efficiency with focused environments? And I highlighted just a very simple example. So if you're packing lunches in the morning and it's causing you frustration because you're trying to get everyone out the door, you could look at the chores block at the evening, and you could wake up later in the morning if you move it, and stay up there to write. So if you're replacing that time, you could potentially wake up at 6:30 instead and maybe have a little more writing time at night. So what we're doing is we're trying to pull different tasks together that we can do in one block that'll sort of open up these pockets of time for us. So think about what your ideal week would look like. So you don't need to have everything figured out right away, but try to segment your days to as typical of a schedule as possible, or where you would like them to be. But you have to include all your boundaries and all the current tasks that we're doing. So the recommended order of actions to sort of create this ideal week would look at those large time blocks with your boundaries, putting the tasks in a logical order, and then you can create focused environments around that. So one thing that was really imperative for me after I continued to feel extreme frustration when kiddo started going to school was that anything that was unexpected that happened threw me off course wildly. And also too, if there were moments of my months or anything that I wasn't feeling super productive or down, just depending on my energy levels. So from your ideal week, once you have that down, create multiple plans for those unexpected days off for your kids. So I created these plans to say, okay, if there's an unexpected snow day, this is what my schedule is going to look like. If there's an unexpected sick day, this is what my schedule is going to look like. If I feel low energy, this is what it's going to look like. I actually created, and it was very simple. I just did it in the same software. I usually use Google Sheets. And I just created different schedules, and I had them available for me when something happened. So that was helpful to already know what I was going to do on that day without being like, oh no, I can't do all of these things I wanted to do because of such and such. And, be kind with yourself. As mothers, we are often not kind to ourselves, and don't think that every single day needs to be the most productive one, because we are doing so much, and just try to take it a little bit at a time. And I found these extra schedules were super helpful, and at least having somewhat of a plan for the days that things unexpectedly happened because no one anticipates those. So when you're looking at your ideal schedule, what if tasks don't fit? Now, this is a common issue that I sort of came across with my one-to-one clients, in that they had all of these things they were doing, but there literally is not enough time in the day to do it. So what do you do? Some of these tasks, I would probably pick the ones that you don't want to do necessarily, or you don't have to do, if your kids are old enough and can be helpful, if your spouse or partner can help you. So can you delegate? Can you ask for help? Do you have family nearby? Do you have friends nearby? Can you swap time with a friend, have them come over for a play date and they help you clean, or vice versa, stuff like that. Also, can you remove them entirely? I know we were talking about the doom scrolling. It's probably best to remove those entirely. If there's just some activity that you're doing that you just don't find joy from anymore, remove it and be ruthless. We're transforming here. So step 4 is the revise stage. So the next action is to reflect and repeat. So now that you have all your responsibilities broken down, an ideal schedule, and a few revised schedules based on the unexpected, you need to live in the schedule for a little while. Now, a little while, you can determine what that looks like, and just make sure that you track your feelings, reflecting on each day. So this can be as long or as short as you want. Note the days that you feel really good, the days you don't feel really good, since both feelings are valid. You don't have to feel amazing every single day. That's just not realistic. And sort of pinpoint those areas of the good and the bad. In terms of the good, this is what's working. In terms of the bad feelings, what's not working? What part of this schedule is just not gelling with my day? So tools for step 4, this can be as simple as a bullet journal or whatever planner you're currently using. You can write pages about how you're feeling or a simple sentence. But tracking will highlight those areas that definitely need improvement, but also the areas that are succeeding, so you can feel those wins. So this is an indicator for revision. So are there areas of your life that feel more like effort than not? So this is where you can revise, delegate, or get rid of entirely. Look at that list again of if there's any question about your schedule. Can I delegate this task? Can I get rid of it? Can I have someone help me? Don't be afraid to ask for help from family or friends either. I know this is very difficult. I have spoken with a lot of author moms, and sometimes asking for help is like the worst thing. I guarantee you the people who love you will not mind helping you. So try not to let yourself suffer because of your situation. Often, as I said, mothers put everyone else first, but that doesn't have to be the case. I am literally the least adaptable person I know, but I understand the importance of stopping myself when I feel frustrated. As mothers, we go through many seasons with our children and understand that the frustration just may be a part of that process, and that's okay. So with these basics, you'll have the blueprint to shift and change with them instead of trying to fight against them. So this is an overview of all of the steps and the things that you can do to make your time more effective. Find those pockets of time that you can batch and reflect and repeat. So this is not theory. Until now, I've only shared the system with my one-on-one clients. But at this point, I know I can make a greater impact by sharing it with more women, which is why I've been dedicating myself to creating this program. If you're thinking, I'm ready, where do I start? All you have to do is commit, focus, and take action, which you've already done by taking the time to be in this masterclass today. So I just gave you my busy author mom's blueprint But as I'm sure you can imagine, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to becoming less stressed, more productive, and present with your family. So you can do it yourself and feel out of flow, or you can go with a proven success path. So if you decide to work with me, nothing is held back, no missing steps. You just need to follow my lead. I'm on a mission to free you from mom guilt and believing that you have to choose between your family, your passions, and yourself, and give you the exact processes to follow to build a life on your terms. And that's what the From Chaos to Control method program includes. I have taken the entire process from start to finish in building realistic and unique systems for you to thrive as an author and a mother, along with surrounding you with a network of like-minded women for ongoing support. I want you to have the best possible launchpad for a successful publishing career moving forward, no matter what obstacles come your way. Because, as I said, I've been through it. I'm coming at this with years of experience, experimenting and finding the things that actually work long-term versus trends. So, do you want in? Here's how the process works. Who is this program for? Mothers who are published authors. You want to be the best and healthiest version of yourself for your family. Remember the oxygen mask. You want more creative time in your day or time to pursue your passions. And you don't want to put your writing behind everything else. And also, you are someone who takes action and are going to implement the information. If this sounds like you, you're invited to apply to see if you qualify for a call to enroll in my From Chaos to Control method. I've set aside a bunch of time this week to talk to you to see if I can help. The call is approximately 45 minutes, and the intention is to understand your life and publishing goals based on the information in your application and identify how and if we are a fit to work together inside of my method. So here's what I know to be true. I would not be where I am today without creative scheduling my time to be the most present mother and most innovative author I can be. So where do you want to be in a year? Check out the link below in the description. Thank you so much for being a part of this webinar. I really hope you took at least one piece of advice out of it that you can apply to your life. You can click the link. We can chat face-to-face or virtual face-to-face on Zoom, and we can talk about all of your upcoming projects and about your kids, and if there's a way I can help you out. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll have another webinar coming out soon, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.